The lame phase is a period of life where old habits die and new identities form. And it's scary. You start to lose friends, you start to shed old habits, and new identities start to form within yourself. And it is very scary. But it's beautiful because that's life, you know? To be human and to live is to evolve, is to change. So to embrace this version of yourself, it's a very beautiful thing. It's a very beautiful metamorphic phase to go through, but you got to embrace it. So what are these quote unquote lames, right? This lame phase, right? And I'm saying quote unquote because we view discipline as like some sort of prison, and we view change as some sort of like death, like some sort of like internal death that we go through. And it is, but it's a beautiful death. So my goal with this video is to show you guys how to make lameness cool because it's what we need. Literally, these are the changes that we want to go through to get from inefficient to efficient, to go from broke to poor, to go from anxious to calm. And so, what are these lame phases, right? Here are the 7 lames: early bed and wake up times, avoiding poor company, avoiding drugs and alcohol abuse, the whole spectrum of self-development, you know, reading, going to the gym, etc., sexual discipline, financial responsibility, and mental health management. Some of us have large, scary goals, and some of us got a lot of pressure on our backs because we have loved ones who rely on us. Maybe you feel like you're the black sheep of your family, or you feel like you're the chosen one of your family, and you feel that pressure, like I do, that if you don't make it, other people will suffer because you were selfish, because you didn't rise to the greatness that you know is within you. And so it's important for people like you and I to rise to this challenge. If you feel called, then answer the call. So I embrace the lame phase. And my goal with this video, once again, is to show you how to do the same without actually being lame. Because what is lame, right? Like we get caught up in all this social, you know, like statusy games, right? And you know what's cool and what's not cool. But the truth is, you create what's cool. If you step in that with confidence, other people will be like, oh, reading books are cool. Going to bed early is cool. Not getting drunk on the weekend so that you can get shit done is cool. But it takes time for you to actually evolve into those roles and evolve into those behaviors for the people around you to actually start to conform. People are followers, guys. People are sheep. And if you're a leader, you're watching this video. If you're a person who aspires for leadership, then you're watching this video for a reason. So you create cool. So that's why I keep saying like lame, 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 because this is not lame. We are creating new pathways for people to follow and new pathways for people to step into a better way of life because they were led to the path thinking that like getting high all the time and getting stupid drunk on the weekend and running through shorties is cool. I got caught up in that same life my damn self. And now, since I'm a leader, we're going to flip that on his head. All right. I will show you how to make structure, routine, and boring routines cool. Let's get into it. First of all, you must understand that discipline is freedom. Abraham Lincoln has a quote that I love. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. If you knew you had the key to your freedom, but you chose to stay in prison, did you ever really want to be free? You know, just think about that. I remember it was Harriet Tubman. She said, you know, I freed hundreds of slaves, and I would have freed hundreds more if they would have known that they were slaves. And that was so, so powerful because, you know, back in slavery days, people got accustomed to their way of living. There were some slaves that couldn't see life beyond a plantation, that couldn't see life beyond the abuse that they were going through. And then you had a select few people who was like, bro, this ain't it. I'm about to get up out of here. And the same thing, you know, symbolically is happening today. We're enslaved by a lot of our routines. We're enslaved by our environment. We're enslaved by addiction, and we're enslaved by just those constant hits of dopamine. So you are in a mental prison and a dopamine prison. But the beauty of it is you can free yourself from that prison. Mentally, we have all these crazy beliefs about what we can and can't do. And we make it worse because we have unaddressed trauma that we don't address. We have unaddressed fears that we don't address. And then we don't put ourselves in a community or an environment where it's actually conducive for us to address some of these things, you know? And so that's where the mental imprisonment comes from. And then our whole environment is structured for addiction. And to make it worse, this generation truly is some dope fiends. Some literally are doped out on pills and drugs and weed, whatever else this generation is getting their hands on. But what I literally mean is we are dopamine junkies. This is a generation of pure dopamine junkies. And dopamine is the neurotransmitter in our brain that signals pleasure and reward. It makes us feel good. And it's not fun always being doped up. There's a difference between good dopamine and bad dopamine. And we are constantly doping ourselves up with the bad dopamine, you know, the dopamine that causes a up and then it causes a down. And we want to be able to sustain dopamine with things that we earn, things that we struggle for. And I'm not trying to get into my whole, you know, David Goggins, you know, do hard things and, you know, whatever, but it is very true that whenever you do something hard, the dopamine trigger in your brain is much more sustainable than when you do something quick and easy. You know, when you take sugar, you get a high and then you get a low. When you go to the gym, you don't want to go at first, but then that dopamine after you leave the gym, that is sustainable. You don't want to eat the salad at first, but when you start to see your body looking good and you're starting to get abs and all that good stuff, then you're like, okay, that's good, sustainable dopamine. We abuse this dope with social media, Pornhub, meaningless sex, shitty food, and talking about our goals more than we're actually acting on them. So, interesting fact, whenever you talk about your goals, your brain gets excited and it releases dopamine into your system. But that can actually be detrimental for us because now our body is tricked and it thinks that we're actually doing something because we feel good about talking what we want to do. So that's something that I used to do a lot is I used to be like, oh, I've got all these big goals and I want to start a YouTube channel and I want to do this and I want to do that. And I could articulate what I want to do and it made me feel good. It made me be like, yeah, like I got this. I got plans. I got goals. But then when I fail to act on those goals, now I'm depressed. And now I'm like, damn, bro, like, why do I feel so shitty? And it's like I was pumping my body up with all this dopamine, talking about what I wanted to do to my friends or to my coaches or whatever, instead of actually doing it. And so that is a huge dopamine hit that you guys should avoid is talking about your goals more than you're actually acting on them. So people aren't aware of these dopamine triggers. And that's one of the reasons why depression is so high. We're just not aware that we're constantly feeding ourselves with dopamine triggers that is not good for long-term happiness and long-term, you know, stability when it comes to our reward system. We do need rewards and we do need to feel good because why not? But we need to have consciousness and nuance in that. So part one of the lame phase is accepting that you're keeping yourself in prison. And the way to freedom is through self-control and through doing the things that you do not want to do. The goal is fulfillment, productivity, and profitability, right? I make videos for people who want to be more productive, want to make more money, and want to have more fulfillment in life. And the way that we do this, the way that we become more productive, more profitable, and more fulfilled is through mental practices that provide as a guideline for us. And my number one favorite of all time is the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle. Awareness of this mental hack has brought like tremendous mental clarity to my life and it's helped me structure my life. It's brought discipline to my life. And so I share it frequently. I share it as often as I possibly can because whenever I get overwhelmed in my own mind, this is what I use to bring down the anxiety and bring myself into what is the few that I can do right now to bring the majority of the results that I'm looking for. I teach the students of my Real Balance community this all the time, and they have seen what it has done for their lives and their productivity and just their sanity in general. So I'm a huge fan of this. And if you guys continue to follow my YouTube journey, you will see me use this principle quite a bit. This is how it works. 20% of our inputs cause 80% of our desired results. And 80% of outputs cause only 20% of the results that we're looking for. Therefore, the 80-20. Pretty straightforward. If you don't want to use the 80-20, just remember that less is more. All right? Less is more. It's a very stoic principle that you should practice, and it takes some time to condition your mind to the fact that you don't have to do as much as you think you need to do in order to get the results that you need. But if you can get really good at this, and if you can pin this in your mind, it will produce crazy results in your life. I promise you. We spend 80% of our day being busy when only 20% of our day should be used being productive. That goes down into like the 4 hours of deep work that you hear people like myself, Dan Coe, Matt Gray, Alex Hermosi. You hear a lot of entrepreneurs in the productivity and self-development space talking about like, bro, if you want to design a life that you don't want to escape from, you need to get good at focus and you need to get good at prioritization. You don't get some badge of honor for working for 20 hours a day. You get a badge of honor for working on the things that produce the results that you need and then spending the rest of your day doing what you would prefer to do. Currently, I'm living in Medellin, Colombia. This is an Airbnb that I'm currently in, and I'm learning Spanish. I have a commercial cleaning company back in America, and that is how I earn a living. My company has provided me the financial resources to be able to step into social media. And so you guys are, with me on the beginning of this journey of mine. But each day, I don't spend all day working. And some people think like, especially here in Latin America, because the culture here is like work, 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 work. My Spanish teacher, he works so much. I don't know how he does it. He has one day off a week, and on that day off, he still teaches Spanish. But his day off, he only works for 4 hours a day. And that's a day off for him. And that's not the life that I want to live. So I choose to wake up early and I focus on the 20% that matters the most. What KPIs in my business are going to move my cleaning company forward? What KPIs in my social media business are going to move my social media business forward? Working on my CRM, fixing some systems, shooting YouTube videos like the one that I'm shooting right now, writing my newsletter, writing tweets, engaging with other creators that I want to create with. That doesn't take all day, guys. All it takes is for me to turn my phone off and focus on what is important at hand. We're just so used to this busybody culture that most busybodies just aren't aware that they can be doing way more in way less time. So that's what I really want to help you guys out with. So here's 4 examples of the 80-20 rule that you guys might see in your everyday life. 20% of your friends bring 80% of your fulfillment. 20% of your savings will bring 80% of your investment funds. 20% of your wardrobe is worn 80% of the time. 80% of the books you read will have 20% of the knowledge that you seek. I could go on and on about I have tons of examples, guys, but you get the point. All right. Practice this. Go on YouTube, look it up. If you guys want, you can join my community and I help you out personally on using the 80-20 to structure your life in the way that you find the things that are most important and then you go and implement them. That is something that I wish I had on my journey through this. But there are plenty of examples out there on how you can implement the 80-20, but you just want to meditate on it. You want to read about it. You want to learn about it. And then you really want to get this principle in your head. Guys, I promise you, this is the one. If there was one, it's this one. All right. There is no glory in slavery of your time, guys. That's the most valuable thing we have. We need to master the art of time management and knowing what to do at the right time in what, increments. All right. So how do we make discipline cool? All right. That's what this video is about. How do we make discipline cool? How do we find that balance between, being someone who's structured and someone who's disciplined and someone who's about their business and also having a life? Like, because there is a balance. Everything is balance, yin and yang. I love the concept of Eastern philosophy. I think they got it right. Okay. At least when it comes to that balancing of polarity of yin and yang. The truth is, even if your life consisted of meth, sex addiction, jelly donuts, and Coca-Cola, you can still get a lot done. I'm not suggesting that you do that. All I'm saying is if you know what your key performance indicators are, also known as KPIs, you can still get your shit done. Like you really, really can. So imagine if you got people out here who are snorting coke for breakfast, reenacting Hugh Hefner's lifestyle, but they know the 20% in their life that needs to get done. There are tons of people out here like that. Now, you'll crash and burn eventually, living that type of lifestyle. But the point is to show you that if you know those key things in your life, if you know what needs to be done, you can kind of do whatever you want. And I'm just being real with you. Now, like I said, I'm not coaching that and I'm not advising that. I'm just trying to be real with y'all. So don't get caught up in trying to be a monk or trying to be the next David Goggins. And if you're religious, just follow your religious practice. If you follow the Quran, follow that. If you follow the Bible, then follow that. But if you're setting your own structure in your own path, then you need to set your own parameters and you need to find that balance between your guilty pleasures and having fun. Because like I said, discipline is freedom. It's not a prison. All things in moderation, including moderation. Danco. I love that quote. All things in moderation, including moderation. That is freaking gold, bro. Yin and yang. You want to become a disciple of discipline, not a rigid robot. All right. I like David Goggins, but he's a little too extreme for me. All right. I don't want to run a marathon every day, and I like to have fun. I like to let loose sometimes. I like to allow some leeway in my structure so that I can have fun, because you define what's fun, and like I said, you define what's cool to you. Balance and nuance is the key to making structure cool. For example, if you like weed, which I do, and if you look at my last YouTube video, I went through a complete crackhead withdrawal phase. And I told you guys why I will never abuse weed again. So if you like weed, why don't you try microdosing on weed? If you're a man hoe or a ho, a female hoe, whatever type of hoe you are, why don't you be honest in your dating life? If you know you're playing the field still, why don't you just be honest with the people that you're dealing with? Don't bring someone into your mess. There are people out there who just want to have fun. There are people out there who just want to be casual in their dating life. Don't go find a girl or find a guy that you know is serious about dating and finding a partner and then lie to them because you want to be a hoe or you're just not evolved enough to be honest. Why don't you find that nuance between dating and drugs and find that balance between doing what you want to do, but being beneficial to your fellow humans. Okay. I love that saying of do no harm, take no shit. Okay. So I'm currently single. I'm intentionally single. Whenever I choose to be involved with a woman, she knows exactly where I'm at in life. She knows exactly what she can expect, what she can't expect, and if we have a dialect of what our expectations are. If we're on the same vibe, then we'll move farther. If not, then that woman has the opportunity to say, you know what, Darren, thank you for being honest with me. I'm looking for a husband right now. I want to, go look for that. Or like, you know what, I'm having fun right now too. I'm soul searching right now too. I'm finding myself right now too. You're cool. You're honest. I like that about you. I think we can hang out. We can kick it. You know, that's my honest opinion, guys. I'm not a relationship coach. I'm only here to be 100% real with you and give you some real shit. All right. You do not want to be out here creating bad relationship karma. That's especially for my fellas. All right. You do not want bad relationship karma, because one thing that I know is karma is a. If you struggle with something, speak about it. Find accountability and attack your weaknesses. I have a therapist, I have a business coach, and I have people that can hold me accountable to the things that I say I want to do. Guys, we're all in this thing called life together. We're all trying to grow. At least if you're on this channel and you found me, you're serious about growth and staying authentic to yourself in the process. So you want to find someone that can hold you accountable if you can't do it yourself. But don't fight the battle alone. Don't just struggle, because that's actually how you can go into depressive slumps much quicker. Thinking that you're alone and trying to go through all this stuff alone. So attack your weaknesses. And if you can't do that on your own, find someone who can help you. Sobriety is cool too. Righteousness is cool too. Because once again, you decide what is cool to you. And if you own that with conviction, Other people will catch on. People in your tribe will catch on. You don't have to drink beer. You don't have to smoke weed. You can be completely celibate. You can be as religious as you want or as non-religious as you want. But you got to know your truth and you got to stand on that. You define coolness. But we have to find that nuance. If you like to drink, don't get drunk. Have a few beers, have a few shots, know your limit, and then quit. Set a limit for yourself, guys. I'm trying to show you how to make discipline cool. All right. I'm not trying to change your life, but you have to be able to set those boundaries for yourself. You have to. We're adults. Parent yourself like you would parent a child. That's what self-love actually looks like. Self-love is knowing your limits, knowing what you can do and what you can't do. If you know that you like to drink and you're not an alcoholic, then why wouldn't you go out and have a few beers? And if you know that weed is your kryptonite and you don't want to be anywhere around it, and you know that if you smoke it makes you lazy, or if you know that you have a food addiction, you know that, oh man, if I get around these donuts, I'm gonna eat them, I'm gonna eat the whole box. That's gonna impact my mental health, it's gonna impact my weight, it's gonna impact my gym gains. Then guys, set those healthy boundaries for yourself like a parent would set those healthy boundaries for a child. I still go out and have a few beers. If I'm with the guys, we might get a section. We in the section taking shots of tequila, screaming trap lyrics. Like, guys, I'm a normal person just like you. But I set boundaries for myself. Actually, a quick story for you guys. The last time that I got drunk was actually here in Medellin. So I'm currently living in Medellin, Colombia. And the last time that I got drunk was here in Medellin. And one of my homies plays for the NFL. Their season just ended, so he wanted to come out here and join me. And we went out. We had a good time. Um, we got drunk. And my goals for myself is to be up at 5 a.m., no later than 7 a.m. And that's 7 days a week. Why? Because I have strict goals that I set for myself. I want to make more money. I want to position myself as an authority online. And I want to create habits for myself that are sustainable over time. So we got drunk one weekend and I didn't wake up till like 9:30 or 10. I felt like shit. I wasn't hungover, but I just wasn't in the mood to get up and shoot content. I wasn't in the mood to wake up and write. And that made me feel bad about myself. And it made me be like, you know what? So I talked to my bro later that day at dinner and I said, bro, I love you. You know, you my guy, but I'm not doing this shit with you no more. Like straight up. If we go out, 1 p.m. is my cutoff. Like I'm not doing this no more, bro. That's very low vibrational behavior of me because I know where I'm trying to go. All right. So that's what I mean by, setting those healthy boundaries for yourself, but still being able to have a little fun with it. So as you can see, even within my strict guidelines for myself, I've allowed some leeway. I wake up at 5 a.m. during the weekdays, and on the weekends, I give myself a 2-hour window. So if I go to bed around like 12:30, 1:30 even, then I'm waking up around 7 to 7:30. That I can get up, I'm not hungover, and those are my KPIs. Waking up early ensures that things are getting done. It ensures that I'm still locked in and I'm intentionally locked in on the goals that I set for myself. If I'm waking up at 9:30, 10, 11, 12, it's like, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? And how serious are you about what you say you actually want to do? So you got to know your KPIs and then set those strict boundaries for yourself. When I'm rich, maybe that'll change. But the goal of the lame phase is to hold yourself to standards long enough to see them change your life, and then you can decide what you would rather do. Maybe one day I might want to wake up at 10, but I'm not rich enough to do that yet. So the goal of this phase is to turn you into a new person to decide what you would rather do, because we want options. All right. We want to create options for ourselves. That is what a life by design does for you. It gives you the options to choose what you would rather do, because the ultimate goal is to wake up where you want, when you want, and do whatever you want with the spouse of your dreams. At least for me. So you don't want to set goals, you want to create habits. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. James Clear. The only way to create a better you and a better life is to create better behavior. There's no way around it, guys. I'm not here to preach to you. I am not a preacher. I'm trying my best to deliver this raw to you. All right. If you want a better life, you gotta have better habits and better behavior. Straight up. There's no way around it. You gotta embrace behavior change or you're lying to yourself about wanting more out of life, guys. Actually, when you step out of your comfort zone, you might find that the things you thought you liked and couldn't live without, you actually don't like and you can live without them. When I quit smoking weed, I realized that I didn't even like smoking that much. Really, it was just a form of self-sabotage, and I liked numbing myself from reality, and I was smoking 3, 4 backwoods a day. That was a form of pure self-sabotage and escapism. To make it even worse, those backwoods and that tobacco, oh my goodness, that man, tobacco addiction is tough. And I have strong empathy for anyone who is battling with tobacco addiction. You can do it. I have done it. Now I wasn't smoking the little jewels and the vapey thingies, but like I was smoking 4 to 5 backwoods a day. I'm trying to tell you. And whenever I went cold turkey from weed, I almost feel like I wasn't even withdrawing from the weed, but more so the tobacco. It was my body craving that tobacco more than the actual marijuana itself. So good luck with, for those of you, going through that battle. Tobacco is a, yeah, that is a tough addiction to kick. I will never touch that shit again. Best of luck to you, Juul and flavored tobacco users. I'm serious about that because I know how tough that is. I recommend you all read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. He is the GOAT of habit formation, so I'm not going to get too deep into it. If you're serious about your journey, then you should be serious about feeding your mind, and reading is obviously the best way to feed your mind. So, highly, highly, highly recommend read Atomic Habits. Create systems for yourself or you will fall every time. There will be an inevitable slip, okay? We're not perfect, guys. We are not Jesus. We are not, it's impossible. It is impossible to prevent yourself from slipping. It's impossible to just be this machine of productivity all the time. Sometimes you're going to be at your best. Sometimes you're going to be at your worst. And you need to know how to get through those slips and understand how to properly navigate them so that you don't completely slip down the slope. Okay. You got to get comfortable with the fact that you're not a machine. You will slip, and that's okay. Let me say that again. You will slip, and that is okay. If you want to prevent those slips, something that I learned from Atomic Habits is don't slip 2 days in a row. Just if you slip up and you smoke one day, don't smoke 2 days, because once you smoke 2 days in a row, now you're starting to develop a habit. So when you slip, set your rule to not do it twice in a row. If you do it twice in a row, don't do it 3 days in a row. And if you start to catch yourself doing it 3 days in a row, you need some sort of punishment system or some sort of accountability system to get you back on the positive habit. Or you need to really, really talk with yourself and see if you're serious or not. Like straight up. That is how you build character with intention. All right. Set those rules for yourself. Set those limitations for yourself. And then over time, you'll start to see your character has evolved into someone that you don't even recognize. You're like, wow, like I don't want to smoke weed anymore. I don't want to get drunk anymore. I don't want to be a player anymore. So your character builds over intentions with the behaviors that you intentionally do repeatedly. This is also how you keep discipline cool. Because if you're like, damn, I really like weed, but I know I got shit to do and it makes me lazy and it makes me eat like crap and it just throws me off my goal. Guys, just do it once. Do it once. Do it once a month. I can't tell you what your limits are. Only you know your limits. Me, I'm like, I'm not smoking at all. Straight up. But you know what your limitations are. Your character is who you are when no one is watching. And you build good character into your psyche by reps, just like the gym, over and over and over and over and over again. At first, you have no muscles, and then you start to see a little definition, and then over time, you're starting to see your shoulders swell out, and then over time, now, you know what I'm saying? Now you're getting a little meat on them bones. So it's all about consistency, not the quick gains, but the long-term, day-by-day work that you put in. Sometimes life happens and you can't do what you said you were going to do. So what? Do it tomorrow. but actually do it. Don't use that as an excuse to start to slip again. Like I said, I've done this, guys. I'm telling you, just don't do it. And if you know that you're bullshitting yourself, find accountability. I'm telling you, the accountability part is going to help you so much in your journey, because all of us are not strong enough right away to lift that weight, that symbolic weight off of our chest. Sometimes we need a spot, you know? I have many spotters in my life, symbolic spotters in my life. This journey is for life. So you're going to slip, but stop being such a hard ass around your boundaries, but also establish that firmness with yourself that will give you the confidence to know that you can last the long haul. So my closing points for you guys is your maturity must match your vision. Let me say that one more time. Your maturity must match your vision. I can't tell you if you should smoke or drink. Only you know what needs to go from your life and what can stay. So be honest with yourself and have bravery with yourself, because letting go is the key to gaining more. There's another really good stoic practice of whenever you buy something new, get rid of something. You know, it creates this like this freedom and this space within yourself that you can feel confident about, and it makes you feel more light, minimalism, you know, if you will. So be brave and be confident of what you can let go in your life. Just try it. Have an idea of what is holding you back and what you're holding on to, and just try letting a little bit go at a time and see how that does for you over time. So be bold enough to see what your life is like without your favorite tobacco thingy. Like, try it. Be bold enough to see what your life is like without 8 cups of coffee a day. All right? Be bold enough to go through the withdrawals from the substances that you can't live without. See what sobriety feels like. If it's that bad, then I guess go back to drinking a venti cappuccino double frappe. If it's that bad, go back to smoking your flavored jewel or whatever, you know? But I promise you, whenever you test those boundaries, you'll find out that the things you think you need, you don't need as much as you think you do. I allow certain things to stay around in my life because I'm aware of what are vices for me and what aren't vices for me. I go out and I have a few beers because, you know, I like that like medium drunk feeling when you're out either socially. Guys, I own a commercial cleaning company. I'm always on golf courses. I'm always out and about networking. And a key, if you didn't know so, is a lot of entrepreneurs, they are pure alcoholics. I am not, but I like that borderline drunkenness that you get when you're happy, but you're not hungover and you're more social. I can do that because I know my limits. I like myself better when I'm not high, so I simply do not smoke. Maybe in the future that'll change, but right now, the me that is free from marijuana is the me that I like much, much better. And I'm getting much, much more shit done. So I'm going to continue along that path. I like waking up at 5 a.m., and that's what I'm going to continue to do. The old version of me hated it, but like I said, over time your character evolves, and now I'm just an early riser. I wake up and I get my shit done. Okay? You don't have to be part of the 5 a.m. club, even though I would recommend it, but I'm just trying to paint the picture to you guys that this is not the person that I've always been. I am every day I'm actively becoming a new person. Every day I'm actively evolving. And that's what it's all about. So remember, less is more, and is a stoic principle that will change your life. I'm going to leave you guys with a quote from Mike Tyson that I really, really, really love. Discipline is doing what you hate to do, but doing it like you love it. Thanks for watching. Peace.